But here's the thing. As great as that is, structured quarterly planning isn't always the best time for you to step back and reflect on what your vision for your business is. And it's an important thing for each of us as entrepreneurs to be doing, to step back and say, what is my vision for where I want to be? For what kind of business I want to be running, for the things I want to be doing day in and day out in my business. Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to episode 174 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and today's episode is going to be kind of interesting. Today's episode, we're talking about my really weird August. I know this is kind of a weird topic for a podcast episode, but I think it's an important one to talk about because August truly was one of the strangest months in my business, in my career, but that's also one of the strangest months in what has been one of the strangest years that I can imagine having here in 2020. And so I want to talk about it, and I want to share some things with you and help you understand what are the things that I'm taking from it? What are the things that I'm looking at and saying, oh, okay, well, yeah, where would I go and how would I get this information? What do I do with it? And I've done some reflection on this, and so I wanted to share it with you because I think it's important to share these things. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to dive straight in. This is not an episode that I'm going to say is brought to you by anything. We're just going to dive straight in. And I want to talk about why August was so weird. First, I'm going to talk about kind of the weird negative stuff. I was dealing with a lot of kind of emotional turmoil during the month about some things going on that I was seeing in the space that were not making me happy, but also, let's just be honest. I read a study that, some psychiatrist, psychologist, I don't know who, it had basically said that they're pretty sure that because of the whole COVID thing, at this point, many of us are kind of at our limits of stress. And I kind of think that's where I was. And I'd also been pushing really hard for a really long time without much of a break. We jokingly, honestly, on my team, we'd been saying for a long time, like literally going all the way back to, I don't know, it was April or something. We were saying I was going to take a week off of the business where I was going to focus on just taking courses. And it never happened because stuff kept coming up and we kept working, we kept pushing, etc. Meanwhile, my dog, who I got back in 2007, she was the first dog that my wife and I ever got together. She was we called her our first baby, but even more than that, she was for both of us. Growing up, we'd had dogs, at our houses, but they'd been outside dogs. So she was kind of the first inside dog. She'd been with us through thick and thin. I said this through, 4 houses we'd lived in together with her. She had seen me, in my government lawyer career, go to a law firm with someone else, start my own law firm, and then start my own business. And she'd gone through all of this, and she was declining, and we knew it. And, we didn't know how much time we had left with her, but we knew we could see it. She was 13. She was a Rhodesian Ridgeback, a large breed. Large breeds tend not to live as long. And so we kind of had a sense that it was happening. And sure enough, she ended up passing away. We had to make a hard decision the last weekend of August. It was the right decision. There's no question in my mind about that. But And again, some people don't get this. If you don't have dogs, if you don't have animals that you're close to, this is going to sound weird to me, but it hit home for me. And I think even for my wife, it hit us harder than for me, in my case, losing my grandparents and things like that, because I've never lost someone before who was part of my everyday life, if that makes sense. And again, you may be listening to this and saying, what the hell is wrong with Bobby? A dog is not a human. And if that's your view, okay. But what I'm going to tell you is that Zoe had as much personality as any human that I've known. She was our tireless companion. And so literally, it's the first kind of loss I had dealt with of an everyday presence in my life, if you will. And maybe that's because I'm blessed, and it is because I'm blessed. But dealing with that was hard. But also in the middle of August, I was hit by a phantom sickness. No idea what it was. It kind of started actually right in the middle of August. I wasn't feeling great during over a weekend, but I rested over that weekend and felt good enough by Monday and started pushing. And then by that Friday, and to explain what happened, I can't even explain it. I can't put into words kind of what it was. The best I can explain, and this is not a feeling I have very often, because I actually, as much as I talk about beer, I don't drink all that much, and I had not had anything to drink for a week and a half before. But all of a sudden at like 9 a.m. on a Friday, it felt like I was being hit with the worst hangover of my life. I was lightheaded. I was a bit woozy, not dizzy, but just kind of almost, if I moved, it didn't feel good, clammy, etc. Had my brother-in-law, who's a nurse practitioner, kind of, checked me out and basically couldn't come up with anything other than it appeared to be exhaustion and the kind of thing you would expect, maybe if it was some kind of something I ate, it would pass, but it didn't. And so I rested that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Even by Monday, I was, thinking, okay, I'll be better on Monday. And so I went out for a walk that morning and I was not better. And so luckily my team said, nope, you're not working this week. And I did a couple of things that we couldn't move off my schedule, but they cleared the decks and I rested for a week. And I felt better. And so again, there was a lot of weird kind of negative stuff happening. In the midst of that, though, I had the biggest, best financial month of my business to date. We had revenue of almost double our best month ever to date in August. And we did that without any kind of launch, without any major event. Now, we did do some things, and I'll talk about what we did. But there was no launch. There was no big ad spend. I mean, we were spending ads on some other things. On my affiliate launch of Digital Course Academy, we were spending money on ads for that. But that had nothing to do with the revenue that came in August. And so there was no ads behind it. There was no launch. There was nothing like that we could say, okay, well, this is why. And just to give you a sense, we brought in August alone, right around $11 per active lead on our list in 1 month. And, that's a pretty striking thing. And again, you can put that in your mind, what that would mean for your business, but it gives you some sense that, if you could replicate that, if I could do, $11 to $12 a month for every person on my list, all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. And you can start thinking what that means. And so those were kind of the results we had, and we grew our list. We did all of these other things. And I want to talk about kind of my thinking of kind of what I take from August, because I think there's a couple of things. First, I want to talk about kind of what I take in a sense from kind of the struggles. And it hit me even more. Me being tired and exhausted and not feeling well for, a week, and then finally resting and finally feeling better, drove home that, look, I love my business, but that can be a problem. For those of us who love our business, it can be a tendency for us to work too hard, for us to keep pushing, to keep chasing. And we need to think about that. But it also had this thought to me, because I thought about all the things we had been pushing, for the last, say 6 months, and all the things that had kept me busy and all of those different things. And I looked at it and I said, yeah, I like them, but let's think through a broader, kind of step back. What do I want my business to be? And I think everyone needs to take this lesson every once in a while. You need to step back, step out of your business. And I don't necessarily, look, everybody will say, okay, you can do this with yearly planning and all that. And yearly planning is great. And quarterly planning is great. I do it with Katie, my integrator. Every quarter, we do 2 days of quarterly planning. But here's the thing. As great as that is, structured quarterly planning isn't always the best time for you to step back and reflect on what your vision for your business is. And it's an important thing for each of us as entrepreneurs to be doing, to step back and say, what is my vision for where I want to be? For what kind of business I want to be running, for the things I want to be doing day in and day out in my business. Because it's very easy for us to just get in a rut of doing without having that kind of very considered thinking where we can do this work, the deep work. And so I started thinking about what that meant. What did I want? And, we had already been thinking through our offerings and structures and things like that. And, it gave me even more clarity to lean into the things that I've loved doing. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it also kind of the combination of that with also dealing with the emotional turmoil that I was dealing with, kind of facing the impending loss of my dog and all of these things. And it made me kind of have these thoughts of, and again, I say this all the time, but business should be fun. And I was very happy that Katie on my team has always has kind of become one of my North Stars to help me with that, to keep remembering that I don't want to be building a business that I don't want to build. And I want to be clear. I'm building a business I love, but there are things that we're all doing that we should be saying, no, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. That's not actually what I want to be doing. So I'm going to stop doing that freaking thing and not do it anymore. And I think we all need to be willing to do those things. I'll never forget. There's a woman in my community named Melanie who I say is amazingly courageous. She is in my inner circle coaching program, and at the beginning of the year, she kind of had that realization that she was building a business that she didn't want to build, and she pivoted completely and is now having amazing success doing something she loves, helping people with sales pages on Kajabi and website builds on Kajabi, which is actually what she loves to do and wants to be doing. And so I always think about that, to remember that we should all have that courage. We should all be willing to constantly look at our businesses and say, what's working? What's not working? Where is it that I get up every day and I'm like, oh God, not this? Because if I'm having that feeling, it's a sign that I should stop doing that or find a way to make it light and easy. Now, it's not always either do it or not. Some of it might be, is there a way I could make it fun? I could make it light. I could make it easy where I would do these things and it wouldn't feel like a drag. But those are the kinds of things that I want you to be thinking about. And I was thinking about those things in August, and I have unbelievable clarity about where we want to go, about where we are going in my business. You're going to be hearing me talk about a lot of these things more in the coming weeks, months, etc., where I'm going to be talking more and more about the things that I see happening in the industry that I disagree with, that I think people are doing wrong, that I think people are missing, that I think, people are being led astray about. I'm going to talk about those things because I believe that's what I am called to do. I believe I am called to kind of stand up for a different approach to online marketing than a lot of people are teaching. That's my calling. And so I'm going to be doing that. And so I got amazing clarity on that. The rest did me good. And that's kind of the first thing I want you to think. If you're having these struggles, if you're feeling in the doldrums, step back. Take the time to rest, step back and think. What's working? What do I need to change? What am I doing that doesn't serve the vision I have for this business over the long term? Be willing to do that. But now I want to talk about why it was that we had this amazing month without launches or a big ad spend or doing anything kind of out of the ordinary. And really what it came down to was we simply made more offers to my existing audience. And if you're on my email list or you were paying attention during August, you may have heard of 3 different things that I was actively promoting in that month, but really there was 4. Because I also had the DCA affiliate launch that I was talking about some. And the first, it started at the beginning of the month of August when, and I'll candidly tell you that, so I have encouraged my team. One of the things I encourage my team is to set goals that are unreasonably high. I don't want to hit our goals generally. And I felt like finally I was getting through to Katie at least, because she talked about her goal for revenue at the beginning of August. And I literally kind of laughed and chuckled and said, well, okay, that's good. FYI, we surpassed that goal. And I'm going to do a little digression here about why that's important and why I think her setting that crazy goal was important. Because if she hadn't set that crazy goal, we would not have had the month we did. Because setting that goal forced her, and she's in charge of our growth and marketing team, in addition to being my integrator, forced her to think, well, who do we have to be as a business? What would we have to do to reach that goal? And how could we do it in a way that works, that's easy, et cetera? And so I think it spurred her to be thinking that way. Me and others on the team as well, to be thinking in those terms. And so it was very important that we set that goal. And so we set that goal, and then it was not literally the very first day, but it was within the first week. I don't know exactly how it came about, but I talked about how I had this amazing time doing these 2 different sessions with people. One of them with Darcy in my community, who'd kind of won a half-day intensive with me by doing a kind of a referral contest during a previous affiliate promotion I had done. And so she won that. And so she got, 3 hours with me free. And so we did that and I loved it. And it just so happened that then the next day I had an hour-long kind of working session with one of the people in my inner circle coaching program who'd also signed up for, a program through my affiliate link. And so basically, I won't get into the details, but instead of me like on my own mapping out some things for her, we got on a Zoom together and did it kind of collaboratively. And so I told Katie how much I had loved doing both of those things. And she said, well, why aren't we doing more of that? Because there's nothing in my business. I didn't have an offer where I did anything like that. All my offers were these scaled offers, right? We have a membership side, I have a course, and I have my templates, and I have all that. Because, of course, in the online marketing space, in the information space, everybody's telling us not to do one-on-one work because, that's not scalable and all those things. And Katie said, well, even if it's not scalable, if it's fun and you enjoy doing it, why don't we do some more of that? And I said, okay, well, great, but who's going to pay for that? She said, why don't we just make an offer? And I said, okay. So we threw out an offer to do a VIP day with people. And again, VIP days, if you follow a lot of the kind of, online entrepreneurs, people will put out these offers for VIP days. And I joked when I sent the email that most people put these numbers that they'll say, well, it's going to be a 5-figure investment, which if you have to think about that, that means more than $10,000. And they put these numbers out there and they'll do these things. And here I'm going to kind of pull back the curtain. They're not doing it because they want you to buy. They're doing it because they want to anchor the value of their time so that when they make some, stack of value in selling a scalable product, they can say, well, to hire me for one day, it would cost you $15,000 and you're going to get, right? And so that's what they do. And, that was not our goal. Like, I don't make offers to price anchor. I had thought about doing that with this VIP day, but I said, screw that. That's dumb. That's not how I market. I don't want to market that way. And so we've thought about it and we said, okay, well, what would we do? And I said, okay, a day of my time, $4,000, which very cheap by, standards of my peers in the industry. But I said, hey, that would make it worth my time to do. I would gladly do it for that. Plus I get out of Katie's hair and we actually do some work. And so we put it out there and someone took us up on it. And we had an amazing experience with her. And, because of the nature of what she was doing, I actually brought Katie in to help with some stuff to get some things set up. And she loved it so much and talked us up in some other groups she was in and created some buzz. And so then we created from this general idea that was initially going to be kind of a traditional VIP day of just one day of just me, my time, strategy. We could, I could, work on you with messaging, planning, strategic thinking. We could write some emails. We could write some sales copy. We could do a lot of different things. But for this person, we decided to do something different because she needed something different. And so we actually worked with her on kind of building out a funnel. And so afterwards, we decided that we wanted to create kind of two different offers. The traditional VIP day with just me, but then also a 2-day that we were calling, I don't know, affectionately, we were calling it like rent my team in a sense. But the idea is that you would work with me and my team over a 2-day period to get everything set up. Pages, we'll help you with ads if you need it. We'll get you a brand toolkit. We'll do all of those things. Kind of think of it as like funnel in a box, if you will. And the idea was that we can help people like throw dynamite into, the roadblocks in their business by coming in and over 2 days doing what would take months for them to do without us. And so we created this and we put that out there and someone took us up on that too. And so again, the message that I want you to get from this is we created an offer that was something that I felt, hey, I would love doing this. My team and I would love doing this for people. It is an unbelievable way to serve, to see results over the long term with people, to really kind of get in and do the work for them. And so we said, wow, let's throw it out there and see what happens. And it worked. Now, it could have been that I would have thrown it out there and nothing happened, right? But I threw something out there to try it and it worked. And so we said, okay, well, let's lean into this. Let's think more through it. And so we have now decided, just FYI, this is part of what we're going to be doing going forward. We're going to have these VIP days and we hope that people will take us up on it. Again, it's not something that we can scale. I can't do 5 of these a month. I could probably only do like 2 different people a month at the most. But it's something that's fun, that I enjoy doing, and that lets us really kind of go deep. And so we're going to keep doing that. And, I throw that out there as an idea for you that if you're in this digital space, you might be thinking, doing any kind of one-on-one stuff, no, that's not going to do it. But is there a way that you could do it that would be fun, that would be light, that you would enjoy doing? Just think about that. So that's kind of that. Now, if you're listening to this and saying, holy crap, Bobby, I want to take you up on that VIP day, you know where to find me. Just email me, Bobby@bobbyklink.com, and we can start a conversation. It's not the point of this podcast. I'm not trying to pitch you on doing one of these, but if this sounds like something you'd like help with and want to talk, reach out and we can chat. But so that was the first thing we did. The next thing we did was we had decided we were going to do a promotion of the Online Genius template library, which hopefully if you're here, you know what that is. But if you don't, it's my all access pass to my legal templates. When you buy it, you get all my legal templates that I have available now and any I add in the future. It's a product, not a membership. You can pay it all up front, or we have a 12 pay if people prefer that. But we have that. This is the signature product. Now, this was a product that in the past I had launched. I had launched once with a webinar, and then it's where I kind of pioneered my email only non-launch launch that I called it in 2019, where I would just send emails, but only limited periods of open cart. Well, we had changed to make it evergreen, where it was just available on my website day in and day out, no special bonuses, no, nothing. We'd made that change back on October 22nd. I think it was 22nd, but October something of last year. And when we had done that, by the way, we saw our sales go up. We consistently, when you look at it on a quarterly basis, et cetera, we've been selling more of it since we made that change. Now, Obviously, it could be that I've done other marketing, et cetera, but we've seen an increase. But here's the thing. When you have a product, and if you are someone who has products that are available on Evergreen, meaning someone can just come and buy it anytime, or even if you have like an Evergreen webinar funnel and people can come and go into your funnel and then either buy or not buy, you need to pay attention here. A lot of people have those things, and if people don't buy it up front, we're not actively promoting it later. And I was guilty of this. Like, I had not done any kind of special promotion of the template library since last October. And so if people came into my world and maybe thought about buying it, but didn't, they could have forgotten. They could have forgotten this was out there. They could have not thought about it. And this is something now, especially like with a course, if you have a course that's going through like an evergreen funnel, and you don't even have a sales page that people can get publicly on your website, it's an even bigger deal. You need to be thinking about, how do we come back to people later and say, hey, are you interested now? Because the fact that they didn't buy it up front doesn't mean it's an always no. It could just mean it's not right now. And so you need to be thinking about that and building ways to actually make the offer to people again. You've already captured them, and you don't have to do it in an overly aggressive way. I mean, I think we sent literally 5 emails all of August about it. I think that's about it. But literally, it was simply reminding people of the product and providing some bonus for people who bought during August. And so what we did is we said, if you buy this during August, we're going to give you a free ticket to my upcoming live event, Badass Online Marketing Live. And so the concept of this was very simple. It was, let's add something, because what I want to tell you is, one thing I've learned is doing discounts, not a good idea. Because if you do discounts, then people expect discounts. They expect they'll wait till you put it on sale. So I would always suggest, like when you're going to do some kind of promo, try to add value rather than giving a discount. So that's number one. But the idea was, hey, let's give them something that's on the other part of my business, the business building stuff, that is a reason for them to buy now. And we did it. And again, I don't know the numbers, but we had our best month of sales of the template library, I think, ever, other than when I used to do launches. And so you would have like, a quarter's worth of sales all in 1 month. But if you look at it on an average basis, no question, the best month that we've had. We did it without ads. We did it without any kind of heavy promotion, no launch vehicle, just by sending some emails and adding a bonus and giving people a reason to buy. So if you have kind of an evergreen funnel, I want you to be thinking about that. How am I going to kind of repitch people later on? Because you need to be doing that. Now, the beauty of this pitch, by the way, of what we did, and I want you to think, this is kind of taking it to the next level. And this isn't about why August itself was great. But part of what we did there was also to seed something that we are going to be offering now in September and through the rest of the fall. Specifically, it gave me an opportunity to start talking about Badass Online Marketing Live, my virtual event, and what we were going to be doing, and seeding the value and telling people about this event and explaining a bit. I mean, we didn't go into depth about it, but about what they are going to take out of that event, of why they want to have this ticket. And so I'm, number one, amping sales of my template library, getting more people to buy. And even for the people who don't buy, who are on my list, they started hearing about the value of my virtual event that's coming up later this fall. So that when we start selling tickets for that, people will want to buy tickets. And by the way, that event was also one of our bonuses for our Digital Course Academy affiliate launch. Or I say this, it may, when this goes live, you may still have a couple of days to buy that. I'm not sure. But part of the value, part of the purpose here was also, we're talking about it there. So we're playing up the value of something that's going to be offered and is going to become an important piece of what we are talking about for the next series of months. So, two birds, one stone. Make more money in August, seed the value of something we'll be selling after August. So that was the next thing that we did. And again, if you think about it, very light. It consisted of Katie on my team added a block to our sales page with some information. I think we added it's not Hello Bar, it was a Karcher bar, but basically an alert bar to our website that told people about this offer. And then we wrote 5 emails. And that was it. That's all we had to do over a month to generate additional sales. And I'll just tell you, like literally our sales of that product alone, I guess it didn't come out this way. If all of the money had come in, like if it had all been full pays, would have exceeded our regular, I believe it would have exceeded our regular monthly income. So literally just that one product, which is a staple already, we were able to bring that in. And then the last thing we did was we did a flash sale of my email marketing course, Badass Email Marketing. And when I say a flash sale, we had done a beta launch of it in March. The first group of people had gone through it. We had finished the content. We had it all kind of ready and going. And then we had someone in my audience reach out asking when it was going to be available, when they were going to be able to buy. And we have a goal to make it evergreen, to have an evergreen launch funnel for it. The problem is, with what's going on, all the things happening in our business, I kind of knew that realistically it was going to be a while before we were going to have that funnel ready. And part of the reason for that is, and again, I'm going to be honest with you, sitting here today, I am not exactly sure what that funnel will be. And I'm not sure what it's going to be for a number of reasons, partly because I'm not someone who tends to do things just the regular way. Second of all, because it's a course about email marketing, I know email marketing needs to be a big part of how we market it. And so we are thinking through a way to come up with the right model to sell this on Evergreen. So how do we create a funnel that isn't simply following, they sign up, they go to a webinar, then they get emails. It will not be that simple. And it's not about us complicating it. It's that I don't believe that's the best way to sell this product. Now, there may be a webinar involved. There may. But we're still figuring that out. The point of me going into this digression was simply to say, when someone on my audience asks us in August when they'll be able to buy, I kind of recognize that it's going to be a while before it's available on Evergreen. Now, I had a couple of options. I could have just said, well, we could just put up a random sales page at full price, and if people want to buy it, they can. And we may ultimately do that. I'm not sure. But we said, you know what? Let's just do a quick flash sale. Let's just open it to my list. Again, no, we're not doing webinars. We're not doing a launch vehicle. We're not doing ads. We're not doing anything like that to make it hard or complicated. It was just, the original idea was going to be, well, let's just write 4 or 5 emails that go out over 2 days. That was the original idea. And we kind of had this idea a bit. And then literally I was on a coaching call with my inner circle coaching group, and my team had this idea to give a sneak peek to everybody on my list, could get access to module 1 if they wanted to. And so we did it. And I had an episode a few episodes ago where I talked about how we made $14,000 on a 2-day flash sale. And you might look at it and say, 14 grand, that's not much. Well, or maybe you look at it and say, wow, I'd love to make 14 grand in 2 days. I don't know where you are in your business, but what I can tell you is it's the kind of, hey, let's just do something that's just kind of like, I don't want to say it's fun, but it's just kind of like, okay, well, we write a few emails, which for me is not a hard thing to do. And especially now with the team, I can have them help me, with bullet points and things like that. But we create some emails, we send them, and that was kind of it. And I think if I remember correctly, I ended up adding a 5th email, if I'm right, or maybe I think I added people who'd taken me up on the sneak peek, got early access, and then I added one more email, I think, on cart close day. I don't remember. But it was either 5 or 6 emails that we wrote total to make $14,000. Now, I don't know about you, but let's just use 5 because that's an easier rounder number. It's about $3,000 an email. I'll write emails for $3,000 a piece any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And so I tell you all of this just so you get a sense that we had this really weird August where, I was not feeling great. I was, in a weird place emotionally. I was dealing with, personal stuff. And we still had an amazing month where we had crazy good results without having to do any crazy heavy lifting. And oh, by the way, I should mention, during August, we also got literally our entire promotion for Digital Course Academy done, other than I think I at the end of August, I still needed to record a video for our bonus sales page. That was like the only thing that had to be done in September, which again is crazy for me. That never happens. Like I'm never that far ahead. And again, as I'm recording this, by the way, I'm recording this before Digital Course Academy has fully gone off. I'm recording it as people are signing up for the masterclass. I suspect I may end up writing a couple of other emails live because that's what Bobby does. But there's no pressure on me. I could literally, everything is scheduled, ready to go. So we got all of that done while having our best month ever. And the key takeaway was, number one, be willing to try something new. And you may hear me say, but Bobby, you're saying make more offers. And I thought I was supposed to keep my business simple. And yes, you are. Notice I didn't say I was going to create a new product. Yes, a VIP day, I guess, is a new product, but it wasn't like I had to go out and like create a course or create a membership or complicate my business. I simply said, hey, who wants to talk to me for 6 hours and pay me for it? And people said yes. And I said, okay, who wants to talk to me and my team for 2 days and pay me for it? And people said yes. And everything else was things I took off the shelf that we already had and simply said, hey, you guys want to buy this stuff? And people said yes. So I would encourage you to think through, are you serving your audience in the right way by making sure that you're actually making offers to them enough? And what I would tell you is if you have a product that is kind of always available and on evergreen in some way, shape, or form, chances are you are not making offers enough because you're not reminding them about it later. And so those are kind of the big things. But my key takeaways from August are, number one, I'm going to constantly step back from my business and make sure that I'm building the business that's in line with my vision. And I'm going to do that periodically, not at regular checkpoints, because I don't think that's the best time to do it, but I'm going to constantly be asking myself those things. And I'm going to make sure that we have ways that we are, and again, without being overly, aggressive or anything like this, but just making more offers to my people and trying things that fill me up and that serve my audience. And those are the big lessons I took. And so I would encourage you to always look at your business and see if there are those kind of lessons that you should take as well. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you again next week. It's going to be a good episode next week, so make sure you come back. Talk to you later. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.